Man, had to run that back one time, Turbo. Well, looking right. But welcome back to No Cap. Oh, not gonna be philosophical at all today, man. Just talk about a favorite pastime. But instead of story time, right? I mean, I guess it kind of is still story time. Going on, family? Got a real love for basketball, man. Real love for hooping. And it's mainly because you don't need a large group of friends to be able to go hoop. And just be you, the ball, or whatever you're using as a ball, and just a hole. So, balled up paper, trash can, sock in a hanger, milk crates in an old basketball with no grip. Still remember the first basket I ever scored on a little tight court. I was about 3 years old, 3 or 4. Walking to preschool, had a little formal outfit on. I guess this was like the interview for preschool. First basket. And then when I first moved to Indianapolis, the house that my mom moved us in had a basketball court, old basketball court. Like the backboard was made out of plywood, old. I remember being outside in that dirt, trying my hardest, trying to throw the ball up. I get one. Day was made. Good memories, man. I ride past that court every so often, like, man, love for that started right here. But my childhood, it was a group of us. They used to always hoop, and regardless of what your home life looked like, regardless of what was happening in school, what your environment had going on around you, I always knew that we was gonna pull up to the park, Watkins Park. What was it 24th? Yeah, 24th and MLK. Indoors or outdoors really didn't matter. We was hooping. It was me, Drew, Debo, RIP to Debo, Fatso, RIP Fatso. Miss both of y'all. Got Husky, Skinny Darian, Mike Ellis, Anton, Marlon, Tony, all the brothers. All of them was out there. Old man Randy, Quintel, Darrell, Jaed, sometimes Mutai, and then we'll come out there. Man, it used to be just a lot of guys from Indy Met used to come out there. Guys from Tech used to come out here. Archman, Short Ridge. Folks used to just meet up and we used to just hoop. Man, it was good times, man. And as a child, when you introduced to it, and it's not AAU, it's not organized basketball, it's just hooping. It's not even like a structured game. It's more so like life in a way where you got to figure out the ebbs and flows of what's going on. You got to feel the flow of the game. You got to understand the situation you in, your opposition, how to go about maneuvering past or around your opposition, what resources you have, so who's on the team with you, what shoes you wearing, what kind of ball you got, whether you indoors or outdoors, is it windy, is it cold in the AC, impacting your fingertips, you got one pair of socks on or two, like there was so many different like little things that was just that, but turned out to be huge things and crazy details that we paid attention to. But all in all, it was more so like an art form because you weren't running X's and O's and game plans and plays. You just were learning human behavior, learning patterns of behavior, learning tendencies, and then just going with what you know. But while you're doing it, you're trying to have as much fun as possible. And that's where basketball used to be at its purest, where it's about competition, but it's also about the art form of it and having as much fun as possible. You don't want to just compete, because if it's just competing and you're not having fun, there's no reason to do it. You got to have both. You got to have balance. And started with that story, right? Because that's also affecting like basketball as a product to watch, and why a lot of folk don't watch it anymore. Because the whole reason to watch the NBA is you got athletes that you can't even fathom just the athleticism that these guys have. So they have like tools in their bag that they're able to get to that normal people aren't able to get to. So they competing how you grew up competing, but they having more fun because they able to do things that you're not able to do. Like, excuse me. One of the plays I never forget is used to have Dish Network, so used to watch Hardwood Classics all the time. So any old basketball game that ever got played on NBA TV, I'm watching it. Like, I'm glued to the TV. I remember a whole bunch of plays. It's always the fun ones. Pistol Pete coming around, fake passing it, ball handling, like cuffing the ball, fake behind the back passes. Isaiah Thomas throwing bounce pass alley-oops. Just Jordan coming through, like hanging in the air would seem like 4 or 5 seconds. LeBron looking at how fast he just taking off and jumping from distances that's crazy when you walk on the court. Like seeing somebody jump from the dotted line and you stand at the dotted line and look up at how far the rim is like ridiculous, but mind-blowing acts of artistry, or what drew a lot of us to watch the NBA. And it's become more money driven than entertainment driven, and we starting to see the results of it. Because when it's money driven, you focused on the data points so you can monetize every single point of interest you can. Compared to it's entertainment driven, you have to make sure that the product is good. And even though it seems like they should work hand in hand, they don't. Because when you focus on the entertainment side of it, you want to make sure that fun and the eye test is more important compared to when you focus on your bottom dollar and your bottom line of it all. You're more focused on data points and trying to like statistically reconstruct the art form. And it's like watching a painter paint just from their mind, just from their core essence, their spirit, compared to watching somebody paint using those like connect the dots drawings that they used to have us use in elementary school. And it's not the same. You can have the same drawing, the same picture, and doing it freehand is going to have a completely different result from doing it connect the dots and by the book. And it's the same with basketball, where, yeah, you're doing the same move, but you're not really doing the same move because the context don't make sense. For example, like the best example of this is the transition from Michael Jordan to Jason Tatum. And for a lot of folk, there's no correlation. Doesn't make sense. One is 6'6", hyper athletic, shooting guard. The other one is 6'10", small forward, playing power forward. That's technically sound and more so structured. But the connecting point between the two is Kobe, where Kobe was technically trying to recreate what he saw Michael Jordan do. So from watching games, watching highlights, getting advice, calling, Kobe was doing everything he could to try to mimic Michael Jordan up to a point. as much as his athleticism will allow him to. He was trying to mimic Jordan. And then you got Jason Tatum, who tried to mimic Kobe. And his imitation is not as flattering as Kobe's was, because you can see the gap where some of the moves look similar, but the wins, the whys, the hows don't match up. Like, yeah, I've seen Jordan do that half spin and it looked beautiful, like jaw dropping, amazing. I seen Kobe do it. It wasn't jaw dropping amazing. It was like gut wrenching, because it was like embarrassing that you let him do that. Then you see Jason Tatum doing it. It's just like, move don't even fit. What made you pull that one out? Like, of all the things you could have did, why the half spin triple pump fake when nobody jumped for the first one? And that's the point where you don't have the creativity. You don't understand the situation to pull the move out. You just know the move. Like, there's a move that I've seen that nobody else has ever copied, because without the context, you would look absolutely just ridiculous. Penny Hardaway did like a half spin behind the back, step back into a three. And when you watch him do it, it's like, oh man, that move was crazy. It fits, but it's crazy to even try it. To try that out of context, you getting benched. Even in today's NBA, where there's no consequences, you getting benched for trying some shit like that, because it got to make sense. But again, they trying to money-driven recreate joy and love. Excuse me. And there's a few like conversations around it that just don't make sense, and you can tell that it's not for the love of the game. Like, calling guys plumbers compared to guys being athletes, where if you play the game at any level, you can understand that competition is going to be competition. You can have super athletes. Anybody who's played basketball with football players, dudes, usually football players, are just like crazy athletes, super strong, real aggressive, can jump fast, can't play for shit. Low IQ of the game. They really just out here running, fouling, and dunking. And that's really what it's like comparing old school players to new schools. They had fundamentals down pat. Dribble, pass, shoot. I know I'm not going to be able to shoot past this 12-foot mark, but if we get to 12 feet, I'm not going to miss. I don't dribble with my left hand. I only dribble with my right, but boy, you ain't going to take it out my right. I'm going to rebound. I'm going to hold it technically sound. You're not going to steal it from me. It's going to hurt you to try to steal it from me. Compared to, man, I'm about to hit you with this step back. It's going to look good. It might not go in, but it's going to look good. I'm going to hit you with this crossover. I'm going to pull you back, and I'm going to hit you with another crossover. I might not go nowhere. You could be standing right here in the same spot. I can move past you, bring it right back in front of you, move past you, bring it right back in front of you, and do it over and over again. I might not get nowhere, but it look good. That's today's NBA. So, like, there's no happy medium right now. It's you forsaking the fundamentals for what you think looks good, but you're not even using what looks good in a situation for it to look good. Like, you in a pillow fight, but you got brass knuckles. Like, yeah, you gonna win a real fight, but it's not the real fight. Like, why? That's how I feel watching it. And you can tell that it's analytics driven, and analytics is probably the worst thing to happen, because you're trying to scientifically explain human imagination. And the thing about being human is we animals at the end of the day. We not gods. So as animals, there are going to be limitations to what we can understand and what our abilities allow us to accomplish. And one of the things we can't really bottle up or measure creativity or imagination because we don't even have the means to fully understand the human brain and how the human brain operates. So if you don't understand how somebody could go through, their train of thought, they experienced this, and that led them to a situation where they thought to move this way. If you can't track those experiences to this decision, what makes you think that you would be able to just recreate that decision? And analytics has brought a lot of bad things, especially like play style. It's like in the NBA, it's a collision of like two terrible, catastrophic events happening and meeting at the same time. You got the exodus of individual play styles. Each team used to have a defining play style where if you saw this team play, you know what kind of basketball they about to play when they get here. Detroit Pistons, they about to try to rough you up. The Nuggets, they about to be flying down the court, no defense. The Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash, 7 seconds or less. San Antonio Spurs, fundamentally sound, the extra pass to the extra pass, and so on and so forth, all the way down. You got like the Magic, Tracy McGrady, about to go one-on-one because there's nobody else on the team. Wizards with Gilbert Arenas, one-on-one. And there used to be play styles that just fit. Play styles died. Houston Rockets killed it. It wasn't the Golden State Warriors. It was the Rockets with Daryl Morey. We just gonna shoot a whole bunch of threes because the math says 3 is more than 2. Which any mathematician would be able to tell you, right? If you shoot 10 layups and 10 3-pointers, a good team is gonna hit 3, maybe 4 threes. That's what? 9, 12 points. A good team is going to make 7 or 8 layups if they get in layups. So it's 9 or 12 versus 14 or 16. Simple math, right? And then you got to have the players to shoot the ball. It's one of the poison pills in analytics. 3 is more than 2. But you know what else? Remember, it's got to be entertaining. NBA is learning today that nobody wants to watch teams just shoot a bunch of threes. If all you doing is shooting threes, shooting layups, and shooting free throws, nobody's going to watch that. I can watch the highlights for that. The highlights are going to show me who shot the deepest 3 or who hit the most in a row, who had the most impressive layup, and we're not going to see nothing else. And I don't have to watch the game for that. We watched it because there was some kind of flow to it. There has to be an art. There has to be beauty to it. And that conversation also led to my stance with like the GOAT conversation. The most overlooked point about professional basketball players, right, especially in the NBA, folks get it confused where they feel like the job of a basketball player is to play basketball. It's not your job. The NBA basketball player's job is not to play basketball. Their job is to entertain. You're an entertainer. So if you playing basketball and I don't care to watch, you're not going to get paid. If you're entertaining, you'll get paid. You entertain me by playing basketball, but the first word is entertain. And that conversation should go throughout. You got to entertain. You got to compete. You got to win. In those 3 facets, you got to do it in that order. Because you don't even have to play a basketball game to be entertaining as an NBA player. Win a dunk contest. Win a 3-point contest. Have the nicest highlights. You don't even have. And one told you don't got to play basketball to be entertaining with basketball. I can make you look foolish. Never shoot the ball. So the entertainment factor is huge with that. But something they didn't figure when they were going through that is, yeah, I want to be efficient, but what am I sacrificing visually? And then there's the conversation of with Adam Silver being the commissioner. Dog think that the NBA is the players. It's not. The NBA isn't even the owners, which is why most of us don't know any NBA team owners. The NBA is the fans. Like, you have to entertain. End the story. And if you choose not to entertain, it's going to come out your pockets. Might not be now, might not be tomorrow, but when you come back for a contract or when you got to redo your CBA and you realize that the numbers aren't there, and then you try to like put the numbers together in some way, fashion, you try to like rig it up, you're not going to be able to reconstruct it because the love comes from the art form. The art form is what's entertaining. The entertaining value is what gets you paid. But all that being said, the biggest conversation I wanted to get to is one that's like said on TV all the time. And one of the reasons I wanted to start a podcast in the first place was when you go to any media outlets or you get on social media, the folks who control the media like force feed folks their opinions. So they just go with whatever's said and they believe whatever's being told to them to be true. And if you are actively involved with the topic that they're trying to coerce you about, it gets offensive because you're like, nah, that ain't how it work at all. And one of the biggest problems I have with basketball is the idea of positionless basketball. I ain't got enough time in the day to try to like argue. Like, there's no such thing as positionless basketball. No such thing. And that's what the board was for today. Because I'm thinking about putting a quote up there or trying to be a little more lighthearted with what I'm putting on the board because I don't want folk thinking that it's pessimistic or negative or aha moments on the board, but got to bring this realism in before you can lean on the optimism. Once you're aware of what's going on around you, then you can choose to lean in to the positive. But you have to be self-aware and conscious of what's going on around you. That way you can make the conscious decision to focus on the positive. But to get to it right, I want to break down like, and this is like surface conversation on the NBA. And when you understand like this surface conversation, and I can do the same thing with the NFL just because I've watched those two sports the most. Like when you're talking football, you can pretty much tell who's going to win a football game just by figuring out three things: who's got the better offensive and defensive line, who's going to turn the ball over or have the most penalties, and who has the best quarterback. Whoever wins 3 out of 3, you're going to win 100% of the time. You got 2 out of 3, still a heavier chance of winning. So when people gamble, same way. Your offensive line and defensive line suck, and you likely to turn the ball over. You're going to lose. Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback the league has seen. When his O-line ain't that great, and when he turns the ball over, blowout. Same with basketball, right? And I thought hard about it, whether I should color coordinate it or not. And I did. I'm like, it just visually makes more sense if I color coordinate that thing. But make sure that thing a little visible. That should be all right. So Oh, NBA, right? Very basic, very structured, very masculine game. Funny, we in a more feminine society, and we also have like a feminine impact on the structure of our football leagues and our sports leagues and our NBA as well. Feminism is like creeping into every facet of life, but folk don't notice it. When you got the old NBA, right? You was a point guard, you was expected to facilitate. So kept that black. Shooting guard, the name. Shoot. You was expected to score. Whether you was a strictly a shooter where you got it one-on-one, whether you ran the break, however you scored, you was expected to score. Small forward, majority of the time you was a defender. You might be able to score, but what was not optional was you had to be able to play defense. Power forward, you was expected to rebound and play defense. Those was typically the tough guys. And then the center was expected to score. And that's the starting five. For the bench, again, point guard, your backup point guard facilitated. Your backup shooting guard, shoot the ball. Your backup small forward was a defender. Backup power forward, rebounder, defender, backup center, rebounder, defender. You wasn't going to be in the game that long, so we don't need you trying to get creative. Nah, just make sure they don't score, grab the ball back. And this was the play style for the 80s and the 90s. Like, and I wanted to break this down by these were the championship teams. For shoot, majority of the championship teams you can think of in the NBA from 1990s moving forward. I won't even say 90s. The Shaq and Kobe Lakers, from the Shaq and Kobe Lakers back in history, this was the structure. Championship teams. Facilitator, Derek Fisher. Shooting guard, Kobe. Small forward, Rick Fox. Power forward, Samaki Walker. Or Stephen Hunter. One of the two. Shaq. And you can go through it with champion. What? Avery Johnson. Steve Smith. Or Sean Elliott. One of the two. Don't really matter. Who the small forward was, because it didn't really matter. Wasn't expecting you to do nothing. Tim Duncan was rebounder and defender. But when Tim Duncan got there, they switched that. Now, David Robinson's the defender and the rebounder, and Tim Duncan's a scorer. And Shaq and Kobe Lakers is the line, because after Shaq, it switched. None of the 7-footers wanted to guard Shaq. So instead of your 7-footer being a scorer and playing the center, your 7-footer was a power forward and a scorer, and your center became your rebounder and your defender. So that's what made Shaq such a dominant player. He changed the structure of the NBA. Not because he was doing anything new, but just because he's just that dominant. Then you get to the new NBA, right? This is the positionless basketball they talk about. Facilitator. Hold on, let me make sure this is even. Yep, this is about right. Yep. There is no 1 through 5 with this. Your facilitator is just whoever you want to handle the ball, whoever's going to pass the ball best. So they don't even handle the ball best. Back then, they're supposed to have the best handles. Now, your facilitator is the person who knows who to pass it to and when to pass it to them. You got to score. No matter what position they are, who's the person that we trust to give us a bucket the best? Defender/athlete. They don't even say defender anymore. They say 3 and D. So your best athlete is expected to spot up and shoot the ball from 3. Rebounder, defender, they still have those, but that don't mean that they tall. For example, Josh Hart with the Knicks. Rebounder, defender, like 6'5", 6'4". And then the secondary scorer, like whoever we trust to shoot the ball. Then on your bench, you got another facilitator, another scorer, an X factor. This could be somebody who's wildly inconsistent, but does something that sparks a team, whether it could be highlight dunks, whether it's like a microwave, somebody who's inconsistent scoring, but when they get hot, they get hot. And then just an extra defender. And majority of the time, they're not even like tall guys no more. Your extra defender is like a 6'1" point guard whose only way to stay in the league is to apply pressure 94 feet. And with the new NBA, right, they try to say it's positionless. Basically what that means is we don't trust all 5 guys to have a job and focus on their job. We want everybody to do a little bit of everything, which means you're not great at anything. The best players are just good at a few different things. Honest, Sabonis, all-star, not a great scorer, not even great passer, but good at passing, good at scoring. Great rebounder. All-star. Rudy Gobert, not good at defense. Help defense, great. One-on-one defense, cooked. Not good at scoring. Terrible at handling the ball. Terrible with passing the ball. Terrible IQ, but good rebounder. Jaren Jackson Jr., good help defender, good shooter, streaky, terrible rebounder. Not really a passer, but still considered a good player because you're good at more than just one thing. So sacrificed being really good at one thing and maybe good at a second to just be good at a few things, and you ain't got to be great at nothing. We'll just figure out a way to make it make sense. So the fluidity and the overall like boundaryless, positionless basketball is really lower standards. Instead of expecting people to be great at their thing and then continue to be good at others, they go, shoot, you ain't got to be great at nothing. Just be good at as much as possible. And then we're going to simplify the game for you so it doesn't look as bad. Yeah, you don't know who to give the ball to. You don't know what plays to run. You don't know what turns to make. You don't know what kind of help defense to play. You don't know when to box out. You don't know who to box out. You don't know who to dig on. You don't even know how to cut. But you're athletic enough to get some space and shoot the ball. You're athletic enough to rebound the ball. You're athletic enough to block a shot or steal an errant pass. And you're pretty good at shooting free throws. And in today's NBA, that will make you a top 20 player. And then if you want to look at champions, you can pretty much determine who's going to be a champion or not just by measuring the abilities of who the starting 5 are. It's not about team chemistry. It's about individual ability. These players are able to do this, and that well. And if you were to add that up, like rate them how you do like high school football prospects, you're a 4-star, you're a 5-star. you were to measure them folk by their stars and just add it up, you can pretty much determine who's gonna win. So you can use data to like recreate what's gonna happen. It's not about entertainment. It's not about chemistry. It's not about artistry. It's just everybody go out there, find something to do, and just do it. The KISS method. And they wonder why viewership is going down. And they try to cover it with the stench of it's positionless. It's better than it's ever been before. Individually, they're more talented than ever. Nah. You took a professional league and turned it into a league full of prospects. What? That's the NBA for you, right? Make being a dog great again. Because, again, entertainment, competition, winning. You got to compete. We want you to be creative and do something I never seen before. We want you to be a dog. Like, we want you to like put fear in people who are trying to play you. We want them to regret the fact that they have to compete. And we want you to win. And the person that does all three, be considered the GOAT. So you can pretty much tell who the GOAT is, or in my opinion, who it is. And what makes it that much better is when your colleagues are all of the same stature as you, where they all have the same intangibles to play the game how it's meant to be played. But we'll get into it in detail maybe a later day when kind of get folk to understand how the fundamentals of how this shit's supposed to work. It don't make any sense trying to argue calculus with folk who still don't know that 2 + 2 4. Yeah.
J-Lo did it. Yeah. Yeah.